Shabbat Shalom. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Hebrew Woman channel. It's been a while, and I'm back with Zell. Look who's here. Zell is here with us today.
Yay! Hello, everyone.
Man, I'm just trying to get back on track, Zell. I'm really excited to be doing content again. I've had quite an extensive break, and when I come back, what do I see? All this Cheyenne Bryant controversy, and it's really funny to me because we did a video about this topic last year, and all these things that people are talking about. I just find it really interesting. It's like we already talked about this when she went on that Cam Newton show, had her dust ups with Corey Holcomb and with Nick Cannon. And so here we are again. And I just thought that the appropriate title for this would be the value of integrity. So without further ado, let's get right into our slideshow. For those of you who are new to the channel, this is a channel for women by women, and we are here to explore our biblical principles. Excuse me. And that's what we do here at the Hebrew Woman Show. The purpose of this show is because as women of faith, we like to take the time and to reflect, study the word, and examine ourselves. 2 Corinthians 13:5 tells us to examine ourselves. The Bible says, examine yourselves whether ye be in the faith. Prove your own selves. Know ye not your own selves how Christ is in you, except ye be reprobates. And that is what we are trying to avoid. We don't want to be reprobates. We are striving to be women of Titus. We are striving to be women that do what Titus 2:1 says, and it says to speak about things which become of sound doctrine, that the aged men be sober, grave, temperate, sound in faith, in charity, and patience. The aged women likewise, that they be in behavior that becometh holiness, not false accusers, not given to too much wine, teachers of good things, so that they may teach the young women to be sober, to love their husbands, and to love their children. And let me tell you something. Titus 2:1 is really important to me because I do think I love how it clearly there's order right here, because a lot of times in these conversations that we have in the different spaces online, there's always this gender war discussion. The Bible clearly lays out the roles that the men and the women have, and you see there's no distinction when it comes to the qualities and behaviors that we should have as people, that we all should be excuse me, I don't know, something in the air, grave, temperate, sober. We should be sound in faith and charity and patience. And so that takes care of that question right there. You want to say something?
Oh, no, not at all. Continue.
Okay. Oh, we're here to train ourselves to think biblically, not emotionally, because that's not to say we don't have emotions, but it is that we are striving to be more conscious in our living and pay attention to making sure we are exhibiting biblical values and virtues, exercising sound doctrine and good judgment, just as Titus 2:1 calls for. Proverbs 19:20 tells us to hear counsel and receive instruction, so that thou may be wise in thy latter end. We are here to fellowship with one another, to build a community of women and sisters who can come together and be of wise counsel to one another. So, we tell you all, as always, and I will put the banner up right now, if you are in need of if you need to fellowship or you have questions and you want to talk to us, to reach us at sister7@gmail.com. I do not know what happened to my sister7@gmail.com banner. It has disappeared, but I will put it up here right now. And as always, if you have questions or you have a topic that you want us to cover, feel free to shoot us an email and let us know. And we are always willing to receive you. So back to our slide here. I always like to give a second witness to any scripture that I share, and the purpose of this is to just make it clear to you that the Bible tells you that, and it lets you know that no man is meant to be an island. So I know we live in a society right now that talks about autonomy so much and telling people I don't need anybody mentality is not what we are from, or it's not even wise. You need to seek wise counsel. You need to have women around you that you respect, and you can receive wise counsel from men and women in your life that share the have and that are wise. Proverbs 11 and 14 says, where no counsel is, the people fall. But in a multitude of counselors, there is safety. So you should have a number of people around you who you all support each other. And if you don't, you can get it right here on the Hebrew Woman Show. We need to support one another and build a community of like-minded people. As always, if you're willing to do that, if you have a desire to do that, reach out to us at sister7@gmail.com. First John 4:1 says, beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits whether they are of God, because many false prophets are gone out into the world. So that's not me telling you that I'm necessarily all knowing and that I know everything. And you should definitely try my spirit. You should try the spirit of anybody teaching or talking or helping. We don't take anything anybody says at face value. We try the spirit. We see if what you are saying is accurate. You know, the saying that they love to throw out in politics all the time that they attribute to Reagan. Trust but verify. That's one thing I can't agree with. Yeah, that sounds good, but I'm going to have to verify that. We don't take anything at face value. And it doesn't matter how well you like someone, you just don't take people at their word. And that is funny because it's going to bring us right into this issue. We're going to talk a little bit about the Cheyenne Bryant dilemma and what has gotten her in the situation that she is in. And this goes to the value of integrity. And this is part of our series that we are covering, When Decency Disappears. And this is the Hebrew Woman's Survival Guide to a Disrespectful World. And I do think, I was funny, Zell, before I came on here, I just watched, saw Yana Van Zant had dropped a video about telling the truth. And she was saying, don't let people lie to you. And I thought it was really, if you guys aren't, just check out that video today because I think it was very timely.
Mm-hmm.
And just talking about how you need to stand your ground when it comes to what you allow people to do. And I will again and say, and I thought it was timely because again, it goes to this issue as well. When we allow people like Cheyenne Bryant to play in our faces and tell us a thing is a thing when it's not, it's problematic and
Mm-hmm.
it gives people a validity that they don't deserve. And what I've long said about this particular situation, I find it really bizarre because I've always felt like there was no reason for her to lie and do the things that she does because like she's done work. She has done work in the community. Hold on, I don't know why this is. It was just an unforced error, and so it's really unfortunate to see like the people returning the book. I was telling Taz earlier when he was talking about reminded me of the guy that went on Oprah that wrote that book A Million Little Pieces, and when people found out that he was lying, how they demanded their money back. So one of the things that stood out to me that we had, I don't know if you remember when we discussed the Argosy situation last year, we looked into the Argosy situation because I think we, like most women, when we saw people attacking her, particularly in the manosphere space, there's always a reflex. I had the same reflex Taz had today too. Like, why are y'all attacking this woman? Especially when you see people in the red pill space attacking someone, your first instinct really is to defend them because we know that that manosphere space just has a dislike for Black women in general, and they're always looking for a reason to dogpile someone. And I think that after reviewing some of the videos and even hearing some of her rhetoric, because now everybody's playing every little thing that she said and done, and hearing her speak on other women and talking about how women are the most delusional, they're more. She said they're more delusional than men, and that they were passing up all these valuable men. And it's like, well, if there's so many, and someone asked the question, well, if there are so many great men running around here, how come you don't have one? And that is where I say that's the problem with the gender war discussion in itself. It puts people in a position where you have to even defend those type of talking points. They're just nonsensical. A lot of times, who you are paired up with really is a matter of timing a lot of times in chemistry. And but we just use this as an opportunity to try to drag people. Why don't you have a man, or why don't you have a woman? And just talking about people in ways that are just unfortunate. Hey, Dr. G, you better click that link and come up here with us. Let me drop the link in the chat. I haven't seen Dr. G in a long time. But yeah, I think it's so. I had the conversation with him today about, they were like, why are all these people coming out against her? And I said, if you look at a lot of the people talking about this, these are people in her field. And funny enough, he was playing a video of Kevin Samuels. Um, he has the actual footage of Kevin Samuels claiming to be a chemical engineer, right? And I thought it was funny, and I told him it was really funny because the people who came for him, there were other engineers, and a lot of times it takes the people in those industries to come out and expose these people, because a lot of times, like I told him, as you taught me, engineers are what, only 1% of the population, and then when you start talking about black engineers, that population gets even smaller. So that was the right audience to call him out. Just like with Cheyenne Bryant, people with actual PhDs are the right people to call her out. Hi, Dr. G.
Hey, Brian, how you been?
Pretty good. Girl,
Well, that's good.
I am so glad to see you.
Yeah, I saw you earlier, and I was like, "Oh my God, Ren is on the panel." It felt like old times a little bit
yeah,
over there with Taz.
I just popped on there when I saw this topic because Zell and I, we literally talked about this last year. We did the research. Zell can tell you we had contacted Argosy and everything. I mean,
Wow.
not
Yeah, I
Argosy.
heard
I
you.
mean, the third party entity that
Uh huh.
holds the information.
Yeah, yeah. No, I
Hmm.
heard you say that. I was like, "Yeah, that's Ren. She gonna look into it now."
Because I don't like people lying. And my thing was, it was like, why are these people dogpiling on her? You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
like, well, let's just look into this. And then there were the claims about the third party entity. I was like, well, where do the people, if a school disappears? I mean, for me, it was just a natural curiosity. If a school disappears, where does the information to go? And so to find out that it goes back to the Department of Education or to one of these third party entities. And so here's the thing that I did that didn't make sense to me either. Why would she get on television and tell the lie that they only held the records for 2 years? Like, nobody could go look that up.
Yeah, I don't know if she understood what she was doing, because lying on the internet, somebody gonna look you up and call you out. That's just what happens. That's just what this is, you know. So it just kind of felt like, to me, she didn't really understand what she was getting herself into by not just being forthcoming, or at least not talking so much about being this expert. You know what I mean? Like, you
Hmm.
she wagered her whole thing on being a doctor of psychology and having all these credentials, and she didn't have to do that. You can call yourself doctor on the internet without being a
Mm-hmm.
doctor. We know that happens. But
Yep.
you bolstered having this experience and these certificates and all these degrees. That's what you did. And I just don't understand why, I don't think she understood what she was getting herself into.
But if you pay attention to the way that she really talks around the phrasing such that she says she completed a program, or when she was in, she never actually says I graduated. So when you start talking about being
Mm,
a doctor, you can take all the classes. That doesn't mean you wrote your or even finished a dissertation. So it makes me
hmm.
wonder, when she's saying certain things, what does she really mean? What does that, if
Yeah,
anybody really, if she ever ends up in court somewhere, she can always go back and, well, I never said I was, always
yeah,
said this and that, because she really plays with those words pretty heavy, in my opinion.
She
yeah.
does do a lot of wordsmithing. And if you look at her website, you'll see a lot of that on there as well. And that's why I think at this point, and Dr. G, to the point that you just made, she's been doing this so long. I don't think that she didn't realize what she was doing. I think she believed that at that point, especially with her run ins with Corey Holcomb, that's what
Hmm.
sparked a lot of this. And the way people received her after Cam Newton and was Nick Cannon. the people in her field still didn't come for her. You had a few people here and there saying some things, but she didn't get this influx that she got now. And I also think the release of this particular book, because it's talking
Mm-hmm.
about healing trauma, that really led to people coming out now like, hold on, you are
Yeah,
misrepresenting yourself, and people who are buying this book, you're talking about healing trauma, they believe you are a doctor and you are not. And
yeah.
listening to her conversation and a lot of her advice, and that's what brings us to this video, ladies. I think we should review this video. Are y'all ready?
Mm-hmm. Yep, let's go.
Sex is an act.
Mm.
It's an oral act, a penetration act, it's a fondling act, and it brings your body to an orgasmic, you know, finishing or completion. Intimacy has nothing to do with the orgasm. Will orgasm come emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and physically through intense intimacy? Absolutely. But intimacy looks like a 4-hour conversation
Now, this
about
conversation for the audience is a conversation, and we're not playing the whole interview, but she's having a conversation with Minister Jamal Bryant, and you all remember we discussed him and his wife not too long ago when there was the controversy about the dress. This particular conversation, Zill and I was just going to go to the bathtub part, but as we were listening to her speak, I noticed some things, and I think people just need to listen. So let me continue.
Mm-hmm.
And at any point, you guys, if you hear something and you want me to stop so you can comment, just say, hold on right there and let's just talk about it. Or if something rings true for you, because I do think that that's part of the issue too, that we don't want to call out certain behaviors because there is an instinct to protect our own. But as we just talked about in the intro, we're here to hold each other accountable too and to examine ourselves. And when we are, as aged women or women who are leading in the community, or if you're in the leadership position, or even if you're a younger woman yourself, anytime you hear something that's not true and you know people are receiving it and taking that information as truth, you have a moral obligation to speak up and say something. That's what I'm dealing with right now. People not wanting the truth. And I am not going to stand and go along with lies to make other people comfortable. I don't do it in my personal life, and I certainly don't think it should happen online. I don't care what you're trying to do to make money on here, okay? Anybody got anything before I started?
No,
Okay.
that's
All right, jump right back in.
um, knowledge of each other. Intimacy looks like a disagreement of two people submitting, so it never turned into discord. Intimacy looks like I talked about the gentleman that I'm talking to praying over me when he's at an event with a group of people he could just stay, entertained with. Intimacy looks like, baby, did you make it home? Did you eat? Are you okay? Do you need anything? Intimacy looks like I'm going to put my needs aside because I see you're in a space where you need all of me.
Mm.
And so I'll choose to discuss this issue I may have with you another time. I check in. Intimacy also looks like when I'm not with you because I am truly faithful, truly focused, and truly aligned with you, that you have a calmness and a peace. And intimacy looks like what I just talked about, the epitome of transparency. For me, transparency is intimacy because you're giving me a piece of you that I don't have to try to navigate. You're allowing me to see it. And this is one that a lot of people are very confused on. True intimacy is, no, I'm not responsible for carrying your hardships, your traumas, your deficits. But if I chose you, damn it, I'm responsible for facilitating you through it.
Mm.
And there's too many people that are saying heal and get over it and then come talk to me. Well, how about I don't want to talk to you at all? Because if you can't at least facilitate doesn't look like you got your toolbox out and you're trying to fix, because like Jesus and the disciples, we all got to carry our own cross. And even when Jesus went to the cross and got crucified, there was a whole audience, but they nailed him by himself. Okay. And he also was resurrected by himself,
Yes.
by God. Nobody was there to carry, resurrect, or do any of those savior things. However, facilitation, support is something that is very intimacy, the what do you need? And then showing up in that. I want to go further because people can
I'm
be like,
gonna pause there because I don't really like I understand what she's saying, and I think too. So for me, part of the problem is when when she's speaking this way, when you're talking about this is kind of going it. So now I see what Taz was talking about. Like this does sound like the relationship lane. It sounds like she's giving relationship. They're giving relationship advice here, and not
Yeah.
just to pick at her, but the intimacy or whatever she was saying right then and
Yeah.
there. The if when you listen to her speak, it's just not given. It's not given what she's claiming. And that's no,
Yeah.
and I'm not trying to be disrespectful at all because I don't have a PhD either. Okay. However, I do think that there is a certain level of professionalism and conversation that people do expect from people in certain fields. And that's just not a dig, that's just a reality, whether we like it
Yeah.
or not. That's an
Yeah.
expectation that people have.
Yeah, for sure. And they're going to expect you to represent like what it is you're claiming to be. And a lot of times I don't hear that level of expertise coming through in her speech, you know. Um
At
it
all.
so yeah, you know.
But see, the way that she talks, though, or the impression that I get from her when I've heard her speak, is that she is with the people. She's speaking as a lay person. She's not talking to other doctors or other clinicians in her profession, and so she's more down to earth. Whereas some another doctor is going to have not really be able to relate and talk to other people, and so she kind of it's almost as if she is getting into that lane to where it's like I understand you and I can really talk to you and relate to how you're feeling. These other doctors and the ones that did all of that other stuff, they don't really understand, because the whole idea, the conversation that she brought up about the idea of not being licensed, as if that limits you because you're a doctor, or the whole idea of just a lot of stuff that she said to me is just questionable, as if somehow it's better that she is in the situation she's in. And that makes me wonder.
Yeah.
That's
I think
game.
I
That's
think
some
I
street
think
shit.
I
Yeah.
agree with you. I agree with you, Zell, about that. I just think though when you're interviewing and you're on platforms and you're speaking about these various topics, something should come through in your speech, in your cadence, that lets people that people
Oh, I
hear, and it
agree.
makes them feel, you know what I'm saying, a way
She does
about,
not
oh,
sound
okay,
legitimate at all.
look, there you go,
She
sis. You
does
you
not.
got it. You got it. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah, yeah,
She does not sound legitimate. And but what's also problematic about that, though, is that I have heard so many other people talk about people that have degrees or that have doctorates. Oh, I know someone and they're a doctor and they do this and they do that, and they're
yeah,
not all prissy, and so this creates that creates a lane for somebody just like her to step
yeah,
in there, and she does not have all the telltale signs of someone that's highly educated, and they can say, well, see, she's just like and she's just
yeah,
like my cousin. I'm just like, whereas no, now she's able to get over on you and tell you anything and you'll believe it. Instead of saying, you know what, no, there's something wrong. Because if I was at a doctor's office and my doctor walked in and they talked like that, no, I would not stay there and deal with that person, because I wouldn't trust it. They don't sound like they legitimately know what they're doing. And or she doesn't.
Yeah,
And so I
and
don't.
so I want to be clear. This is not to exclude people, the laymen, from the conversation, right? Because there are people who don't
right,
have degrees who can talk about these issues and talk
Yeah.
about them intelligently, right? I
yeah,
think also that, and it's just funny to have two people up here, one a doctor and another an engineer. So it's not like you all are speaking in a way that the layperson can't understand. You all are
yeah,
speaking to me. You're speaking to the everyday sister. So I
yeah,
don't think that anybody is expecting you to get up here and start using a lot of big words and talking above
yeah,
people. Okay, because
yeah,
we do you talk. You have an audience, and you need to know who you're talking to.
But you
However,
have to remember, in the Black community, the idea, what is viewed as being educated, just having a degree, is viewed a certain way in the Black community. I mean, am I wrong?
it
No,
depends on who you're talking to, though,
there is a
because I
certain expectation. There's a certain expectation with people who I think the people have a certain expectation of folks who have higher level degrees, because what I find a lot of times is you can't be normal, quote unquote. You know, the
Mhm,
regular, you can't be the everyday sister in terms of how you come across, because then the expectation is that you're not acting like a doctor, quote unquote.
mhm,
You know what I mean? Um
yeah,
and so I think it's a double-edged sword sometimes for people, because like, I come from the hood. Like, that's my background, those are my people. I happen to ascend and get my credentials, but I never separated myself from my people. So how do I, where do I fit in? You see what I'm saying? Like, you want me to be a part of that community, but I'm always been boots on the ground. And so now, because I have this credential, I shouldn't be that anymore. I shouldn't know the language of the people. I shouldn't speak the language of the people, kick it with the people. You see? So I do think it's a tricky situation to sort of be in. And I think that it's tricky because of the expectations of our people, of us.
mhm. I do think it's a double-edged sword, and you can wear, and I that's why I say it does matter the circles that you are navigating, because there are people
Mhm.
who appreciate doctors and people in other fields, educated fields, fields of education, coming to them
Mhm.
and just talking to us like we're regular people, right?
Yeah.
I I don't think, like, for me, I don't want to be called a college dropout. You didn't finish your degree, and I even get that, like, why didn't you finish your degree? And I'm just like, well, life happens, and that's a whole another story. However,
Mhm.
I'm not out here trying to swindle anybody. I'm not out
Right.
here trying to mislead anybody. And so for me, that's why, for me, the conversation is not about dragging her because she doesn't have a degree. I don't have one. And
Mhm.
in not having a degree, I am still and have been able to break into spaces where, you know, the average person would say I don't belong, but I'm here. And so, and I
Yeah.
think I feel the same way about it for her. Like, you were able to break into those spaces so you can own it and not be ashamed, and you don't have to lie about it because
Right.
you made it there regardless of what anybody thinks. I got this, you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
So I think the unnecessary lie is what hurts her the most.
For sure.
And I don't know if you can come back now. I'm thinking anybody can fix things, but she would have to come back and just tell the truth. And at
Yeah.
this point, if she really were a doctor, I just do not understand why she would not just show the credentials and
Right.
put a stop to all this. I believe the reason for it is because she doesn't have it, and the reason I say that, because people can argue, well, you can't prove it. Her statements are problematic. Her claiming that she can't get her proof of having a doctorate is problematic. The claims about the Department of Education telling her that they will refund her money. When has the Department of Ed ever told you they were going to refund your money and you talking about financial aid? What are you talking about?
Well,
Nothing.
You
see
know,
that.
Never. That's never even.
Well,
Right. Yeah. She put herself in a trick bag with trying to make, telling the whole lie. She put herself in a trick bag because it doesn't make sense to people who've gone through these systems and know how they work.
exactly.
well, see
Yeah.
the where she messed up with that, and there was I was watching a show that was discussing that, and the issue is when you go back and you tell and a university is closed, they will refund your money if you have not completed the program. If you did not graduate, they'll refund your money.
Mm.
However, after once you reach and you receive your degree, they will not refund your money for a degree that you've received.
So
And,
she
and,
basically
and it-
told on herself.
Yeah, and that's why I was like, she may have done some of the classes, she may have finished all the classes, but somehow, and assuming that whatever she was doing, that it was telling somewhat a partial truth. Now the question is how deep she got into the program. Who knows? But
Yeah,
by saying that, it lets me believe she did not actually finish.
yeah, that's a
There
good
was
Yeah.
some
point.
part of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's just, you could tell her personality type. If she had those papers, she would have plastered that shit online. Oh, excuse me, all over the
Yeah.
internet. So she is a braggart.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
definitely
And
would have.
see,
She definitely would have.
and then if you notice, one of the statements that she has said several times is, I earned the degree. I earned my doctorate. Or she doesn't say she says something else. But she will say, I earned it. And I'm thinking in her mind, she may feel like she's a doctor
Right.
because she earned it, quote unquote. But okay, you earned it, but did you actually finish? Is the question. And
And
she
here's
never
the other
goes all
thing.
the way to it to say that.
Now she'll flaunt that honorary doctorate that she received. You'll flaunt that, but not the real thing. And we don't think that this is game.
Oh, she has the honorary. I didn't know that.
Yeah, she has this video they play of her going up receiving the honorary. I didn't get to see where, but she even talked about it
Hmm.
on one of those shows. She said it like in addition
Okay.
to that honorary, I do have the real thing, and it's like, well, why put out the honorary but not the real thing?
Right, right. And
Doesn't doesn't
just another point about not being able to get the transcripts and stuff. When I tell you I got transcripts everywhere, I got transcripts on my jump drive. I got transcripts on my desktop. I got hard copy transcripts that I printed. Now they're unofficial, sure, because you have to have them
yeah.
sealed if you're going to use them officially. But if at any point I need to show or demonstrate that I have transcripts, I can do that. I don't have to go to the school to show you unofficial documents. So it's like,
Right.
come on, Cheyenne, like you gonna have that kind of stuff just in your files, just
But why doesn't she have
because
a
you.
degree though? She should have the degree that they gave her when she finished.
Well, that's I think, yeah, I agree. Go ahead, doctor.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like they're asking you to show your transcripts and you can't get them. That's just a fallacy. You would have your transcripts somewhere that you can put your hands on them if you need to. If you
That
actually
part.
had transcripts, you just
That's
would.
true. That's
You
true.
To
know.
your point, I have my transcripts for both of the schools that I went to because now, like, even if you don't finish the degree, they want to know how many hours you completed. So I have to fill that in.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
I
Yeah.
have it on deck. To Dr. G's point, it's on my computer right now, so it doesn't make sense.
Absolutely. Right. That's right.
Mm, mm-mm.
Wow.
Let's listen. Let's finish listening to this word salad.
Like, okay, doc, that's cool. That's all the surface stuff. Taking a bath together, no sex. Because you both have what the Bible says marriage requires, discipline. To take a bath together
Hey.
and have a conversation. A little triggered over there? A little triggered?
No. I
We a
just
little
gotta
triggered
couch
over
this. I gotta couch this. Don't take that bath until y'all get that ring
Till
on
you
there.
get that discipline
Yeah,
too.
yeah, dude. Yeah,
Discipline.
yeah. Don't do it. You're
Discipline.
gonna make me lose my license.
So
Listen.
let's just keep it real. This is hoology right
Oh
here.
gosh.
Because you are
Mm.
sitting up here supposedly talking to a man of God, and you're having a faith-based conversation, and you're talking about how people, I guess the conversation is about how to build intimacy for these people who are not married, and you're telling them to go take a bath together. Now, come on now. What let me just let him continue.
Yeah. I don't even
She's
understand why
talking to married
he's
people. It's different.
Huh? Go ahead.
I was gonna say I don't even know why he had her on the show. It just has to be from
Right.
a popularity standpoint. Because
Yeah.
there's no way I would there's no way that I would have her on my show if I wanted any level of credibility as in the line of work that he's in. There's no way I would
Well, let
not
me
have
tell you
her on the
something.
show.
This video was last year, but this is how far the situation has gone and how these chickens are coming home to roost. Because this video, the way it's popping up and people are featuring it in their conversations, this happened a year ago. Like how we had that conversation a year ago.
Yeah.
Even from what I understand, that conversation with Torre happened a year ago.
Oh wow.
So,
Oh, okay.
yep.
Wow.
Different heightened level. Thank you.
And let me say this, I'm
Yes.
also talking to unmarried people because
Don't get in that bathtub.
if you
Don't y'all
have
get in that bathtub.
listen, if you have the true essence of discipline,
Yeah, no, they ain't got it.
but there are some men that do.
Yeah,
And let me go further. Because a
they
man
must
who
teach Tai Chi.
because you're supposed to save your chai tea,
Yes.
which is really your sperm,
Yes.
until you're doing something
This
that's
is, I've heard enough that this is just intellectual dishonesty. This is the bullshit that I'm talking about that people sit up here and play. This is what I call mental masturbation. If you're going to sit up here and play with yourself, and I guess you want us to go along for the ride as well, you know damn well that you are not going and just taking baths with these single men and women aren't just out here taking baths to build intimacy and ain't nobody getting intimate afterwards. Like, you're not aroused during this
Why would
bathing
you even
period.
play with fire? That's just
That-
playing with fire.
That's just complete foolishness. Dr. G, this is what do you got to say about this?
Yeah, I think the conversation is inappropriate because of who he is, who he should be purporting himself to be. It's just not a
Mm-hmm.
conversation that they should really be having. I mean, I could see her maybe getting into this level of conversation with, what was his name, the football player, or Shannon Sharp, or
Yeah.
I can't think of the other one. I could see them having this conversation, but to be having it with this minister, to me, is inappropriate. It's just out of line.
It really
I
is
don't know.
inappropriate.
They might be shooting. They might be doing some, back and forth kind of little flirting kind of thing. It's feeling like to me. You know what I'm saying? Kind of talking about what we can do, but not saying we, like, because
Mm.
it's weird.
Well,
He
you notice
married
he
too.
pushed
That's
back
another
too.
thing.
Yeah, and I think it was inappropriate too, based on him being what he's supposed to be, and how she's sitting there confidently saying this. But he did push back, and if you further in the video, he goes on. He made sure to circle back around and say, "Hey, I can't endorse this." Oh, maybe I'll just go ahead and finish it out. Let me put it in there because I
Okay.
think that did put him in an uncomfortable spot to, like, wait a minute, you can't just be saying this kind of stuff. Hold on, let me get it back on the screen. Here we go.
and that's productive,
Yes.
fruitful, and will multiply.
Get in the tub with a bathing suit on. Don't just get in
Let
that.
me say
Don't
this,
just get in
ladies
that
and fellas.
bathtub
Let me
naked.
say this, ladies and fellas. A man who could bathe with you and be disciplined enough to not touch you is a reassurance for you. I did that
Don't
with a man.
test it.
I did that with a man. Listen,
You heard him.
don't listen to
test it.
Pastor Bryant. Okay,
Gentlemen, don't play with it.
Pastor Bryant is
You're gonna mess up.
Listen, he talking to the low functioning men.
Hey, listen.
But the high functioning men who want something bigger than.
Do y'all hear this foolishness?
Mm-hmm.
And when she said that she coined that term high and low function, I love that for first therapist that came out addressing her. She's like, that is a term that we use for autism. She did not coin these phrases, and the fact that she's using them in an improper context tells you everything you need to know. But to sit here and say, oh, go take baths together as people of faith, and if you can't control yourselves and you end up having sex, well, you guys are low functioning.
Mm.
Come on. Let's finish listening to this nonsense.
The flesh, because you know that the flesh, he's talking into the low functioning men, but the high functioning men who want something more than just the flesh, because they know that's the cheapest part of a woman, but it'll cause you to pay the biggest price when it goes wrong.
Yeah, but don't go in there cold turkey.
Hold on.
Start meditation first.
Prayer, meditation,
prayer,
and
focus.
yes, and then definitely get your discipline muscle up. But I did that for 1 year because I was celibate for 2 years. I was dating a guy, and almost for about a whole year, we were bathing together, doing all the
part that I saw this, they cut it off at the part where he said, "Don't get in the bathtub." I did not realize that he actually went through and entertained this foolishness. Talking about prayer, meditate, before you get in the tub. Let me play this video before I say something inappropriate.
all the intimate stuff, nude together, sleeping together with no sex, no touching, none of that. When I say no foreplay of anything, and our intimacy was crazy. We never got to the place of intercourse, of sex, but it heightened our relationship to where sex became so overrated and so secondary for both of us that when we left our dating relationship, it actually enhanced and elevated both of us to a different place. When we spoke on the phone about a year ago, he said, "The relationship with you, where I had to have discipline enough to be able to be intimate, but not sexually engaging, has helped me become faithful and committed to the woman I'm married to now."
Wow.
So what I'm saying, fellas, is preparation meets opportunity. And so you don't get a wife and then become faithful,
Ooh.
because at that point it's too late. We're talking about preventative measures that prepare you for the woman you want. So yeah, if you want to pray and fast and meditate first before you think you can get in the bathtub or sleep in a bed nude with the woman, be with this discipline tactic, do so. But the point is, you got to be able to do it, because marriage is for disciplined people. So when that woman cannot satisfy you and she's only at 50% or 70% or 30% some days, what is your discipline tactic you've already practiced to be able to sustain yourself in this marriage? I don't want a man who can't be in a bed with me naked because he's just on my bones. I don't trust you. And because the man that I'm talking to is
So you don't trust the man that you with to be in the bed naked because he might jump your bones, but you'll test it with a stranger. You'll test it to see if he like. It's does this make sense?
She just talking too much. She talking too much, really, really, and it's just that got her in trouble.
This is the stupidest shit I've ever heard. Like,
Yeah.
if you can't lay in the bed naked with me and not touch me, then I don't trust you. Why are you in the bed with naked with him and you don't trust him in the first place? I mean,
Right,
like, I don't even know what to say about this foot. And this is the doctor, the child. This y'all doctor though.
And I
right,
mean,
right.
all of this, and you got to do all of that in the to increase intimacy. Do you really have to get into a tub with somebody to become more intimate? And she did all that with somebody that she ended up not marrying.
That part.
It's like, well,
And
wait, was that even really a good idea? If you did all of that and y'all still didn't get married, then what good is that advice?
on the head, like you did all that intimacy building, and he went and married somebody else. So what does that tell you? Keep your naked ass out of the bed with these strange men. Now, this is the kind of foolishness that I'm talking about. And so that was just one of the videos that caught my attention. And there are so many because people are they're talking about it everywhere. And I think I have a friend who called me today, and she was like to what Zell was saying. There's an automatic. We women, I think women in general, we have a natural inclination to give other black women the benefit of the doubt and to defend them. And her first reflex, that just hating on her, and it has led to people. And she said it. Y'all just hating on me because I'm pretty, and it's like if the default to it's the same thing that men do, or you just hating on me because I got money and you don't, but you're gaining your money unethically. You're selling drugs or you're doing something illegal or just some nonsense, right? Where you're just mad I have money. And it's like if we can't call out behavior that is problematic because we're going to be said that we're hating, we have deeper issues than we think. And so I would say, where are we as a group right now, as a society in a whole, where integrity doesn't even matter anymore? We don't expect integrity at the top or at the bottom anymore. It's just like it's lawlessness. And I think you see it in the presidency. Like you can literally see Trump on video one day saying something and then literally turn around the next day saying, I didn't say that, or it was probably AI. Don't you believe your lying eyes? And I'm like, well, if it was on the internet, I would take that as a maybe, but this is literally you on national news, you calling into the Fox Morning Show saying these things, and then turning around later saying you didn't. And that's what I feel like happens with people like Cheyenne Bryant right now. There's just a lot of gaslighting. Well, so instead of addressing the point that her colleagues well, that technically they're not our colleagues, right? Because she's not a
Right.
doctor, okay?
Right. Yeah.
And so the fact that these people who are doctors and who are professionals in this industry, the fact that they come out and call out the problematic behavior because they know the lingo, they know the key phrases and terms that should be used when describing um, issues for people who are suffering in their field. And if they hear her not doing that and calling her out gets you're just mad because I'm pretty. What are we looking at? What are we talking about here?
Mm-mm.
So this is what part of like so what I was talking about, like when decency disappears and we have to decide as a people who do we want to be, how do you want to live, and how do you want people to engage with you and the world around you. I think this is not a good look for us as a community when we talk about who are our leaders, because I think one of the things we talk about here on the Hebrew Woman Show is leadership, and whether people realize it or not, commenters, social media people who call influencers for a reason. That is a leadership position. There are young
Yeah.
girls and young women that are looking at Miss Bryant and they believe that this type of behavior and these type of tactics are acceptable. And so I would have to ask you, Dr. G, as a person who directly deals with the youth, how do you see these type of figures having influence on the minds of younger people?
Yeah, no, Ren, you covered it. It's problematic because they're gonna look up to her. She's a beautiful woman. She's kind of rubbing elbows with all of these popular, famous people. She's posting herself on yachts and bikinis and all the things. So
Mhm.
the young women are gonna be like, that's my hero. Those are
Hmm.
goals. You know what I mean? And so it becomes problematic because you're not really living up to what it is you're showing. Like you're not what you're showing us is not really the truth. And our youth are not always able to discern that the way that they should. So now they're striving to be something that really isn't real. Now she can be a commentator on YouTube, right? She can have a YouTube personality, but I'm just saying this illusion that I can pretend to be something that I'm not and it be okay.
But I've always wondered, um, why doesn't she have people she graduated with, people she's worked with, someone that was there in a class with her, somebody that she knew from school that can vouch for her? Does she have anybody at all that can vouch for anything about her from as far as her degrees are concerned?
I kind
I
of feel
still,
like if she did, we would have met him already.
yeah, and I
Mm.
hearing just the opposite, and I will say this: she would have a footprint. You cannot get licensed and move in these professional fields without leaving some type of footprint. And she
Hmm.
Mm.
does not have one.
Yeah.
So there's
Yeah.
that. So I think that it's important to talk about these things. I didn't want this is not meant to be a drag fest, but I do think that it
Yeah.
was important to talk about it and just highlight those points to be clear. Your integrity matters. Your voice, how you show up representing yourself matters. The things that you think at the time, hey, I'm just out here trying to make this money. It's a hustle. But look at how these things can cycle back around because this nonstop barrage of videos that led to the declining sales and return of her book is the point that I'm driving home today. She's
Mm.
just a symptom to
Oh.
a larger problem. Mhm.
Oh, I didn't know about the book thing. Okay. So she's not okay. There it is. And that's what the people have the power to do. They have the power to correct it by either spending their money and engaging or not. And
Exactly.
that's how we show up. That's what we do. So I'm glad they're discerning enough, to make that decision. That's all that needs to happen. You take the money away, and the power goes away. So there
Yeah.
we go.
And so instead of people turning this into a "why are you hating on her" session, it should be a "this is what accountability looks like" lesson
For
for people.
absolutely. Yeah, that's unfortunate. But
It,
Ren, I'm going into a place. I appreciate seeing you, sis, and you inviting me up to have a conversation.
Thank you for stopping by. Normally we do this show earlier. Hopefully, ladies, we can do this again. And we normally wrap up in about an hour. So thanks for joining us. And I just want to welcome you to come back anytime.
Thank you so much. Nice to talk with you, Zell. Y'all take
You
care.
too.
All right, shalom. Yes, Dale. So I think that that is one
You
of the
about to go
lessons
home?
for me. You're still there,
You about
Dr.
to go
G.
home?
There she goes.
Mm-mm.
I think that's one of the lessons that need to be brought forward for people today. This is not about the dragging of Cheyenne Bryant. This is really about integrity, and this is what
Mm.
happens when when decency disappears.
Yeah, because it makes me, and in addition to that, though, it makes me rethink the people whose show she's been on, because
Mm,
I would be surprised if they have not looked into her background, and they have to know there are question marks about her credentials. And
yeah.
to bring her on, so that lets me know, okay, you're just bringing on people that are popular at the moment. Are you really trying to inform people, or are you just trying to ride the wave of popularity and be a part of that?
So
And
this is
so,
conversation I
yeah.
said I wanted to have with Taz, Tazaria, Nyla, and some other content creators about the whole idea of should we be doing content with them. So when somebody is problematic, there is hey,
Hmm.
this is media. We're trying to make money. This is what's popular. This is what's trending. And I do think that there is a way to have conversations with controversial figures without. So the interview that she did, I can't think of the lady's name. At one point, she wanted to high five her, and she was like, "Yeah, Dr. Cheyenne Bryant." And the lady shook her hand, and she explained later because they asked her, "Why did you leave her hanging?" She said, "Because I did not want it to look like I was endorsing her when there are allegations this serious going about."
Exactly.
Because at this point, when there's all this argument about her education, and you've released a book and it's talking about trauma and healing and all these other things, people are operating under the assumption, because there are people who are just giving you the benefit of the doubt that you are a
Hmm.
doctor. But to the people who are educated and who do know, and like to the point, like Dr. G said, who have navigated these systems, particularly financial aid, as soon as I heard that, I knew that was just ridiculous. You came right in and clarified something I didn't know, that when a school goes defunct, they will refund you your money if you didn't graduate.
Yeah.
That's a significant takeaway for me here,
Yeah.
because now it just seems like this is a long con. And it just seems like that long con is catching up.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And I'm wondering, because it does make me wonder, who does she have around her? Who's telling her these things? Is somebody, are they hyping her head up? Is she hyping them? It just, there are a lot of unanswered questions there, but I do believe a lot of this is going to, if it ever comes out, it's going to center around her feeling that she's completed a certain number of courses, and her feeling like, I have done this much work, therefore I have earned my doctorate degree because of all the work, and that the reality of that is probably going to end up being she never actually finished. And taking the classes does not mean you've earned that degree. And I don't know if she ever actually worked under someone else, and in the field. So I mean, she's very, very cryptic about when she talks about her experience in the field. And so it really does make me wonder.
And so that's what I was understanding, that that you will see, like, I know I was able to look at Josh X and see his where he did his clinicals at, and I'm like, I don't
Hmm.
know why she does not have that footprint to claim. And then she said she practiced. So in order to practice, that means you had to be licensed. So if you had a license, you would have a footprint to show that. And it's not.
Well, she said that she practiced, and but when they were discussing that, what actually happened is she actually worked under someone else that had a private practice. She didn't actually have her own practice or her own license. She was just working under someone else that had those things. Because
Well, then
that's
you weren't practicing.
yeah, and that's where, and see, this is where the word salads, this is when she's talking in circles and she's saying one thing, but really there's a whole lot of other stuff that comes about down to it. So if you only listen to her talk one time, you'll people end up you're gonna, and I at first I did the same thing. You give them the benefit of the doubt. Because surely someone wouldn't just come along and say they have a degree when they really don't, say they're a doctor when really they don't aren't, and so you just don't even think twice about that. And
And people
then
even
when,
use comments say, when her book sales declined, when people start raising
mm-hmm,
concern, she would have broke that paper out to stop this book deficit or decline. I mean, just the falling off. I
well,
would have came in immediately and fixed it. Like, look, stop the descent. We have the credentials here.
see, then it's going to also, the question is going to be raised. Um, why did she even, and a couple people have said it, is did she need to do this? Why did she lie in the first place? Because a lot of people feel that she could have gotten just as far, possibly, without saying that she was a doctor.
I think she
And then
will.
some people argue that she would not have. That a lot of times, a lot of people do not see being attractive the way she is and having a PhD in the same package. And because she has this charisma, and then
Mhm.
she's calling herself a doctor, that's giving her, it's like kind of like she's the total package, so to speak, as far as women are concerned.
So check
And
this out.
so,
When
mhm,
she was marketing herself, I don't know how she marketed herself to get on that teen mom show. That is
mhm.
that is where the real question has to come in at, because technically, if you look at her website again, she doesn't call herself a psychologist. She says she's a psychology expert. And I think with that teen mom, she has the look. They had her on. She's
Yep.
entertaining. And to Torre's point, she creates the reason why they had her on that show. They were like, she is able to create viral moments. So
Yep.
everybody wants to capitalize off of that because she says things and you
Mhm.
think about, well, why is she viral? A lot of the things she's viral about, they're not because she said something good or that made sense. She just really stirred up a hornet's nest. So it's kind of like the just being infamous, you know?
Yeah. And then having a doctor in front of her name just makes it all the better.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So you go from being just a psychology expert when she's cornered, but when people are just ready to let her go and let her flow with it, it's doctor, doctor, doctor. It's literally like that dude on Clubhouse that calls himself Dr. Julio, and he's not a
yeah.
doctor of anything,
Yeah.
you know. So from now on, everybody, I'm Dr. Ren, and I'm a doctor of love. Okay. So anyway, thank you guys
Mhm.
for watching, and it's good to be back. And so I will be back doing our regular shows on the Sabbath. We're going to get back into our leadership series. I think we're going to mix it up a little bit. We'll finish listening to the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. I think I got stuck because I literally am caught between the law of the lid and the law of navigation, and right now maybe even the law of intuition, Zale. So I think
Mm.
that's why I got stagnant there because I literally found myself in a quandary where I didn't know which way to turn. I'm like, what am I doing here? And so I think that's what happens sometimes, even with the reading. So I'm back and I'm ready to do this, but I would like to mix in a little more of what we did today with our normal content. Okay. So
Okay.
that being said, thanks for watching, everybody. Shalom.
Shalom.
Sandy, you got any final words for the people?
No? Shalom.
Bye.